like so awesome, like hanging out at the beach and everything, and like listening to my like sweet boombox.
Yeah, this is great. My name is Slick. I'm new in town. We should go out sometime. You're pretty cute.
Well, my boyfriend's an insecure karate lunatic.
What? What? Are you crazy? I'm out of here.
Too late. I already hear his motorcycle. He's coming to kick the crap out of you, probably. Nobody better be talking to my girl or I'll smash their electronics.
We don't want any trouble. I'm new here.
You're gonna get trouble. I'm gonna beat the crap out of your face. That blood is super gross.
Ow! Ow, ow, ow.
How about fixing to smash this boombox in a million pieces?
Old Japanese man, please teach me karate.
Okay, I'll teach you. Let's start training.
Oh, okay.
Sand this board, that's all you need to know.
Really? Okay. Oh, that'll do it. Well, I guess I'm a karate expert.
Indeed you are.
Welcome to Some of the Valley's Karate Tournament.
You're dead meat.
I just sanded a board.
Right?
Get in my body bag, yeah!
Right? Right?
You're alright, kid.
You know, that really wasn't that hard. Now we can be together forever, unless I go to Japan in a sequel and meet a Japanese girl and forget about you immediately.
Not good looking.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Parts Candy Garage. We have Slick on the stand today, our first Honda motor, or as some say in New England, Honda. So, this is a pretty exciting one today. I'm really looking forward to getting into this. I've never worked on a Honda outboard. I know they're outrageously expensive. This is the most expensive motor that we bought at $400. But if you check out the prices of these, I'll try to throw some up on the screen right now. They're pretty horrifying, considering this is a 2.3 horsepower. So here it is. Let me grab the camera and get you in for our inspection. Okay, here's our Honda. I think this is a 2014, I think. I'm still trying to figure that out. See, it has the ultra low emission stamp. 2.3 horsepower. It's like a rubber tab keeping the cover on. There's a warning label down here. Don't touch the lower part since it will cause a burn. So this motor is unique to our collection and the outboard motor experiment for a lot of reasons. One, it's a 4-stroke instead of a 2-stroke. Two, it's air cooled. So there's no impeller, there's no water that comes up and spits out anywhere. It can just run right here. We don't even need to use the water tank to play around with it. And it's very modern. This is going to have by far the most modern components of anything. So back to the tour. So over here, I skipped by this. This is a fuel shutoff valve down here. So that would be on with the fuel dripping. And that would be off. As we move in this direction, there's really not too much to see. Here's your fuel cap up here, which has a vent breather on it labeled on and off. Oh, it has a nice snap to it. Up top, you have some information. That's another thing I should have mentioned. Obviously, because it's a 4-stroke, we won't be using pre-mixed fuel in here. Over here, let's take a look. Got down there. So it's about half full. It smells good, actually. It smells like good gas. On the front, we have our choke. Feels like maybe 2 positions, a half and a full choke. You get these interesting looking lockdown screws. Here's our safety switch. If you watch the cinder block video, you'll remember that. Okay, and then the throttle handle over here says fast start and slow. This is a cruise control or friction screw, so you can sort of make the handle tighter. And it is spring loaded, so it does return back to slow when you let it go. That's nice. It feels nice. I like how Honda routed the cable here through this stainless steel or brushed aluminum, whatever this is, this little angle here so it doesn't get frayed. It's a really nice touch. Here's our tiller handle, which goes backwards. And I demonstrated this on one of the other motors. We have a couple motors. When you want reverse, you simply turn the motor, pull the handle back, and now I'm in reverse. Because remember, this propeller only turns in one direction. Okay, and down to the propeller. It's a pretty small prop. It's a plastic propeller or some sort of acrylic or something. It's definitely not metal. There is a sacrificial anode down here, so you can notice Honda does a lot of really nice things on their motors, and they have quite a following, but they're very expensive. They're almost twice as much as some of the other motors, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. So, pulling that rubber tab. Okay, and this looks like when you open a modern car. Okay, so we got the cover off, but it's the pull handle goes through the cover, so just have it stuck over here. So continuing the tour underneath, you have the onboard fuel tank right here. And you can notice right away this looks very different than any of the other motors that we've worked on. It's all plastic under here, and you can't really even see an engine. You know, similar to opening the hood on a new car, you see all these plastic panels, and that's what Honda did here. Now this is air cooled, so I see a fan up here, and I suspect a lot of this plastic housing is to direct air over the cylinder, which is under here somewhere. This is probably a spark plug. So another thing over here you can see, which is different, this is an oil plug. So because this is a 4-stroke, you don't premix the oil. This actually just has engine oil in it. Oh, and now it's leaking out. So it's definitely full. And I think we will change this oil because we don't know how old it is. We don't know anything about it, so we'll probably just change it. It looked nice, the stuff that leaked out. It looked kind of brown, but golden a little bit. So through here, through this little hole, this is called a sight glass, and that allows you to check your oil level. Probably should have looked in there before opening the cap. And then right below that is a oil drain screw. This is pretty standard on lawnmowers and other things, so pretty obvious. Okay, so as we're going around, we have this, I assume is a plug wire. Everything's all rubberized. Oh my goodness, look at that tiny little spark plug. Okay, that is not a normal size spark plug. We'll get back to that. It's a tiny spark plug. This looks like a carb under here, hidden away under all this other plastic. My goodness. Okay, here's that fuel valve that is actually right on the carb. You can see under there. So the fuel shutoff is part of the carb itself. And then going along the side, you have, this must be the throttle cable, and then this must be the choke. Yep. Okay. So that's about it. I took a photo of the serial tags. We'll put that up now. All right, and then there's some writing up here as well. Emergency starting procedure. This might be worth taking a look at. Okay, so it says, I don't know if you'll be able to read that, but remove the recoil starter by removing the 3 5mm nuts. Those don't look like 5mm to me, but okay. Let's see. Wind the spare rope clockwise. What spare rope? Around the pulley and pull to start the engine. Reinstall the engine cover. So it's just like every other outboard. There's some way to manually start it if your recoil starter dies. Okay, well, let's put this back on the tripod. We'll wipe this down real quick and we'll get into it. We just completed our inspection and this motor looks pretty good. There's one little piece of plastic missing over here, but otherwise it looks fully intact and really clean. So I'm just going to spray this down with some my favorite clear vinegar Windex just to get any handprints off and shine it up a bit, but this thing is really clean. All right, since this has fuel in it, why not turn on this fuel line and give it a shot. Now I was told, I forgot to mention, I was told that this did not run when it was put away, but I was told that it had spark and great compression. Everybody says that even though nobody tests the compression, they just feel it. You really need to test it. But it has a fuel issue, that's what I was told. So I don't know how the heck anybody knows that. I have the throttle in the start position. I have the vent open. I have the fuel line on, choke on, lanyard attached. A lot of steps to start this thing. Okay, I hear nothing, and I don't see the prop spinning when I'm pulling this. I would assume with a direct drive that prop would be spinning, but who knows with Honda, maybe there's some little clutch mechanism or something. So I'll turn the fuel line off, and we're just going to continue with our normal standard operating procedure. So next up we'll be checking for spark. All right, well, I guess I'll take this pull start off now. And these instructions say remove the recoil starter by removing the 3 5mm nuts. And there's no way those are 5mm, I'm telling you. 5mm is super tiny. This is a 5mm socket. Not even close. So someone in the Honda documentation department really dropped the ball on that one. I'm guessing it's an 8mm. There we go, 8mm. So let's pop this off. Okay, we got it. Okay. Let's drop every nut. All right, you know where these are going. Say it together. Ice cube tray. All right, let's pull this off. Everything is plastic. It seems well made, but still kind of brittle. Okay, there's our cover with our very tiny plastic pull starter inside. Okay, well, So let's see. That is not a standard size spark plug. This socket set I have back here has 3 spark plug sockets, and there's one that's really tiny. I was wondering if I would ever use it. What makes this a spark plug socket is that it's padded on the inside with rubber so that you don't ding up the ceramic, which I think is a little crazy, but maybe it happens. Yeah, it does fit. So this is a 5/8 inch socket. Fits perfectly on this. Look at this tiny little plug. Oh my goodness. It's like a baby spark plug. Take a look at that. It's a Denso U14 FSR-UB. Okay, well they even have little clips that hold the plug wire so it doesn't shake around. I mean, Honda definitely adds a lot of rubber dampening. There's all kinds of stuff on this motor that you notice. So let's see, what can I even ground this to? Maybe this up here. 14 or 15. That'll work. All right, let's see if we have spark. Okay, there's good spark. It's tiny, but the plug is tiny. Let me grab the camera and get you in closer. Okay, I'm just grounding the plug against one of the pull start screws. Let's see if we can get some spark here that you can see. I don't know if you can see that, but maybe. There's really great spark. Okay, so we have good spark. I'll move on to a compression test. And I'm going to have to use, this kit comes with this compression tester comes with 4 adapters, and I think I'm going to have to use this really tiny one. Okay, good. Okay, there we go. And okay, our meter is on. It is zeroed out. Let's see what we get. I'm hoping for 80 or better on this motor as well. Okay, it's got some kick to it for a little motor. 95.6. Let's run it one more time. 92.5. Okay. Beautiful. So we have really good spark. We have great compression. But it won't start. I tried to pull start it at least 20 times with the fuel on, and nothing, not even a hiccup. So that does certainly sound like a fuel problem. So next we have to find the carb and let's pull it off and see what's going on. We're going to spin this around because the carb is back here, and we'll take this apart and see what we have. So this is the carb, so I can actually see that the carb is held on by 2 bolts, which is pretty normal, but there's all this plastic junk in the way. So wait, is that, maybe they're all 8mm? Okay, there's one of those. Look at that. Wow. So Honda, this is what I was talking about. Honda puts these, you'll be able to see that, but on the end of this is a rubber block with perfect squares in it that fit between the 2 components, and it keeps anything from rattling. It's a really nice design. I appreciate little things like that because outboard motors are just notoriously loud and rattly, and They really don't need to be. So how does this come off? So it looks like the same 2 bolts that hold the carb on also hold this air cleaner or air box, whatever this thing is. So let's see if we can get that. Oh, that's a big one. Okay. That goes all the way through the carb. Okay. Let's see. Are these the same size? No, the front one is actually shorter. So the bolt toward the front of the motor is shorter. Wait, is that the front of the motor? Correction, the bolt toward the back of the motor is shorter. I know which direction I had this thing in. So let's see. Okay, everything is now loose. So there's the air box. All right, and then the carb has, obviously there's going to be a fuel line somewhere. So the fuel line is underneath. Here it is. And here's the choke, and here's the throttle. And these are just bent cables. They sort of look like a double candy cane on the end. So I've seen these a bunch of times. You have to just rotate whatever you're trying to disconnect, and they'll come out. There is a wire holder here for the throttle cable, so that needs to come off. Okay, beautiful. All right, so this is all free. So let's see. I think taking the fuel line off first is probably the best way to go. So there's just a regular fuel line squeeze clamp and a rubber fuel line onto a barb. Okay, and that is leaking fuel everywhere. Okay. Let's get this a little higher than the tank. See, a pro would think of things like this before they pull the fuel line off. Stupid. There we go. Just wedge it right in there. Perfect. All right, so now you can just sort of angle these out. All right, there we go. And there's your carb, a baby little carb. Look at this little guy. Isn't it cute? There's green gaskets. Here's the other okay, one gasket stayed on, and the other gasket goes between the carb and the air cleaner, and it looks great. Here's that fuel shutoff. So that's on, and that's off. We have a little corrosion on the bottom of the carb on the float bowl, and this is some sort of, this is like a drain, I guess, a float drain. All right, folks, so I started jumping into cleaning the carb, but I decided to end the video here. Part 2 is coming very quickly, and the reason is people love these motors. There's like a cult following for the Honda 2 horsepower and the Honda 2.3 horsepower. And if you look out there on the web, the most common complaint is that these carbs are so tiny that the jets and all the little pinholes in there just get clogged too easily. So what I'd like to do, rather than just do a quick and dirty clean and get this thing running, I'm going to show you how to clean the carb the right way, and we're going to engineer a fuel filter in line so that that stops happening. It doesn't make sense to me. Honda thought of everything on this motor, but there's no fuel filter, which is strange. So we're going to do it the right way. The next video is going to drop very quickly, part 2. So stay tuned. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.